Merry New Year and Happy Christmas! Easter and peace, love, and happiness, and whatever else is going on. I am in. Let me turn this fan down. I'm sure that's probably really loud on the phone there. I am in a WRX. It's a 15. It doesn't have much done to it, you know. Exhaust intake, boost control solenoid. It's really cold. It's in the teens outside right now. The car sat on the dyno long enough to be completely cooled off, and so I wanted that because I wanted to ensure that the cold start was money. And it was cold. Engine temperature was down into 20-something degrees. So I fired it up, and it's money. It's good. The correction is less than 1% through the entire warm-up so far. We're currently at 115 degrees. It's been like 10 minutes or so. Like, it's been taking a while. I reduced the amount of ignition retard during cold start. If you've ever heard an FA with an exhaust start up with the factory map on it, like, this is so fucking bad. They sound so terrible. Ooh, fucking just came out. I think I made it longer than 30 seconds. It's so bad. God, it's so bad. So reduce that retard a little bit, and the engine sounds normal. It doesn't piss off your neighbors. It doesn't make anybody upset. So I fired that up. I wanted to hear that. Sounds good. Sounds really good. So I'm very happy with that. RPM has been completely stable through the entire warm-up process, and that's really important. And air fuel correction now has gone up to 1.5%. So I'd say it's pretty darn close. From 23 to 118 degrees, I'm at 1%. So that's good. Hey, Matt. Hey, dude. Jazzy Gath. My holiday was good. It was relatively low-key. We had my parents come over and Teresa's dad. He flew over from the west side of Washington. And then we made some ham and, you know, potatoes and other potatoes, green bean casserole, and, you know, just lots and lots of stuff. And I would say steamroller, Matt. Matt says the FA sounds like a goat getting run over by a semi. I would say slowly getting run over by a steamroller. It's definitely pretty bad. But this has been very pleasant, actually. When you fix that timing, sounds good. And like I said, neighbors love it too. Neighbors love it too. It's great. Wait, oh shoot, is my hat straight? Just gotta make sure my beanie's on straight. Otherwise, I lose all my credibility, according to Spencer. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right, perfect. So you may have seen the title of this video. I'm gonna do something I don't do very often, and I don't think I ever really do it in videos unless I'm talking about a product. In this case, I'm talking about a person. I don't know who the person is. Let me start with that. I have no idea who it is that does the tuning on that Cleetus guy's engines, but or if it's a group of people, I don't know. But I can tell you that I don't think they're very good. I mean, they're using standalones, and these cars have a hard time starting, and they idle like butt, and then they blow up all the time. Like, it's not that hard to not blow an engine up, but these dudes blow them all the time. And you know, a lot of guys are like, oh, well, when you're setting records, you know, engine failures happen. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, oh, well, it overboosted 60 psi, I blew up. I don't care. Overboost one of mine to 150 psi, it ain't gonna blow up because it's fucking tuned right. And they start great too. I don't get it. So I really, you but I just fine. Yeah, they really just don't. They're just not good. They're just not good. I don't like. I watch those videos every time they start one of their cars. I'm like, ooh, man, who did that? Like, why is that so bad? That's so bad. And then they have these videos of bent rods. Like, only two things bent rods. Three things, technically. Hydrolock, which they're not experiencing. Too much fucking timing, and too much RPM. Those are three things. Too much timing, too much RPM, and hydrolock. And the stuff they're running is rated for more RPM than they're pushing, so the clear answer is too much timing. And I don't think that the person that's doing their stuff is tuning correctly, plain and simple. Like when he did that one launch and hit 60 pounds just off the launch and bent a bunch of rods, that's 1,000% tuner's fault. Yeah, they put the wastegates in wrong, whatever. That's 1,000% the tuner's fault. Like, you can absolutely prevent failure in that situation. It is the easiest thing in the world to do. It is so incredibly easy. And yeah, they didn't do it. And he's lost a couple motors now. They just had another couple motors bend rods and stuff. Like, sorry, you're not breaking records bending rods like that. You're tuning them poorly. It's just all there is to it. They're tuned poorly. And it's a bummer. I mean, it's a bummer, I say, but really, I mean, the dude's got all kinds of fuck you YouTube money, so he can do whatever he wants, really. And people are sponsored from left and right. So I guess there's that. It's not really hurting him any. And then he gets videos of carnage. But he'd have a lot less carnage videos if somebody like me or Shane was tuning it. Like, yeah, it's bad. I don't understand how they do such a bad job. Wow, this coolant temp does not want to go up. I'm at 130, and it's just sitting here at 130. What did I put? I put Cleetus? I don't know. Doctor Tune 'em all. I don't know who Doctor is. Unless that's me. Yeah, so it's cold. Yeah, it is cold as balls here. Yeah, it's in the teens today, Travis. It's in the teens. Yeah, like me in high school, in teens. Shit. Well, I gotta drive it, I guess. Like, I gotta get to warm up some. I hope this guy didn't do something silly, like remove a thermostat or something. It's 50 here and you're cold. Well, you know, I'm not that cold. This is gonna be. I can plug the seatbelt so you don't hear that shit. Hold on a second, plug that in. All right. This is the first winter in a long time where I'm not bugged by the cold. What now? My laptop's too heavy? Oh, that's right, it's a 15, that's right. Super sensitive. My laptop sets off the fucking seat. It's on the very front of it too, it's barely even on the seat. Yeah, this is the first winter in a long time I'm not bugged by the cold. I'm outside shoveling snow, and it was 10 degrees yesterday. My nose, of course, is running, just dumping snot, you know, out of it, of course, expected. My hands were a little cold, but I was just out there doing it. I wasn't bugged by it at all, really. I see Smeeta's Golf Cart getting blown up. He's claiming, uh-oh, my thing went away. I missed it. He's claiming a spark plug tip caused it all. Oh, Tanner, I love you. Yeah, probably not. I would say that the thing that caused the failure caused the spark plug tip to break. Yeah, it's not at all what he's claiming it is. In fact, nothing on his videos he ever claims is ever accurate. It's bad. I volunteered to be. I told him, I said, dude, I will be your technical editor. I will go through your stuff before you post it, and you know, and let you know of the things that you said that are wrong. And he declines. But like, almost everything in his videos is wrong. It's bad. It's bad. Every one of those videos I watch, I'm like, oh, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. It's not how that works. Then his whole car wouldn't start thing. I told him exactly what it was, and he was like, no, it's the OEM. They need to do this stuff. I'm like, no, dude, like, that's not how that works. Never once has a factory module, like, lost its memory because it didn't have power. It's a fucking ROM chip. Like, you didn't, like, underpower a ROM chip for so long that it decided not to go. Like, that's not how that works with the factory stuff. No. And he was so insistent. Like, no, dude, it's your grounds. Your grounds are fucked up. You need to get your grounds right. And he was like, no, everything's fine. Everything's perfect. It's all as if it was from the factory. Like, no, dude, it ain't. And then you know what? It was his grounds. Huh. So, I don't know. I wish he was more accurate. I mean, obviously he does a good job producing the videos. People love his content, they love his enthusiasm, and all of that stuff. It's just too bad that 80% of it's inaccurate. It's just a bummer. This thing's got a thunk, 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 thunk. I can't pick up my phone. Ah! It's got a clunk feeling in it. Like a flat spot on a tire, but worse. Or a loose wheel. Or a drive shaft hitting something. This isn't good. It can be flat spotted. It's cold. It's been sitting on a dyno, and it's a small roller, so I'll keep driving it for a while and see. I'm up to 165 now. Thankfully, I'm driving it. Doesn't talk to the guy who's saving the super community and is educating everyone with facts and science with shitloads of experience. No, and not just that, but like, I mean, he responds to a lot of my comments on his Facebook or YouTube page channel. He does respond to a lot of those comments. He just doesn't listen to me. You know, is what it boils down to. And you know, with my channel and with my my Discord and all of that, my goal was always just to educate everybody. And yeah, and I know that that's the basis, or so it seems, of that. But I think if you're going to educate, you gotta at least be correct. But it's just, the channel's not, unfortunately. It's a bummer. Yeah, Cleetus' channel is extremely entertaining. The guy said that. Yeah, it's absolutely entertaining. Someone said that his channel is great for entertainment, but not great for knowledge and how-tos. That is absolutely true. Unfortunately, people take it as knowledge and how-tos. And guys all the time like, well, all you need is this. This will do it. Well, I'm like, where the fuck did you get that from? Oh, that's what Cleetus did. He runs that. That's just really good. I'm like, no, it's not really. Well, you know, he's got 200 drag racing passes on it, so it must be okay. Okay. Wow, this thing took forever going up. Now I'm at 189, so that's good. I can actually do stuff now. I'm at 2% correction. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Whistling Diesel is. Is that the guy with the RBs? Is that the guy that's got the RBs and shit? And he dropped the fucking engine on the hood of the GTRs or whatever? The Skylines? Is that guy? It's that guy. Fuck him. Like, don't ruin shit. Like, god damn it. I took my phone case off like a few weeks ago, and it's been slippery ever since. Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. I mean, I respect cars more than he does, apparently, right? But I mean, that's how you get the views. That's how you get the views and you get that YouTube money. Is you gotta go and do stupid shit. And a lot of these guys, they do exactly that. They want that money, so you gotta do stupid shit. And you know, unfortunately for you guys, I'm not that guy. And so I will forever be the less than 3,000 subscribers channel, unless I go do something crazy and stupid to get people to go, oh my god, what's this guy? What an idiot. You know, I mean, he threw that RB block on top of the hood of a perfectly fine car that didn't need a new hood, just to be an asshole. That's it. And I'm like, just to be an asshole. That was a bummer. That was sad to watch as somebody who cares about cars. But that's my flaws. I guess I care about cars too much. Yeah, what a dick thing to do. Fucking throw the block on top of the hood of that car. Like I said, the dyno speed here so I can set the tach. I mean, I flip out when guys at tier 1, right? Tier 1, not my shop. Tier 1's not my shop. I'm not the boss here. I don't make the decisions. I just give advice when I can. When the guys ask for advice, I give it. But when they put a car above another car and then one car drips oil on the one below it and it sits there, I get fucking mad. you know? And I tell people, what the fuck? Respect other people's shit, you know? And so, like, if I'm flipping out because oil is dripping on the car, definitely not throwing an engine on the hood of a car. It's just not happening. Just not happening. So, I'm not that guy, unfortunately. Fortunately for my wallet, I'm not that guy. But fortunately for my soul and my karma, I'm not that guy. That's for sure. Ugh. All right, so here we are. Now we're at 196 degrees. Fuel trims are less than 3%. I'm getting a little positive learning, a little negative correction, you know, so it's fine. The car and all of that. Some birds are just flying in now. These little cold fuckers, man, they must be really miserable out there. Fell into the tree. Hey, I appreciate it, John. John says he picks up my videos before any other clickbaity stuff. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I tune these cars. I'll be honest with you, the basic cars just aren't that fun to tune anymore. I'm hoping someday I get an apprentice who can come in and take over the small cars for me, so I keep working on product development. I just made big steps on the dry sump oil pump. I'm saying that the file over with my machinist after I'm done with his tune, and they're going to start cutting the dry sump pump tomorrow on the mill. So the prototype dry sump pump is going to be in progress here over the next week or so. Figure out how to get that all together, make sure it's all fitting and working. I got to order the bearings and the seals for it. I got to redesign the main shaft. I got to add a thing. I got to change the diameter of the shaft on my pump in one spot for the seal, and to provide a backing spot for the pulley to sandwich on. Sorry, I'll let you come back up again. So big progress on the dry sump. Unfortunately, material costs are like 4 times normal. A 1 foot piece of aluminum that used to be like $75 is $460 right now. So unless this gets fixed, it's going to be like a $6,000 dry sump kit, which means I won't sell many of them. Because just to make the pump alone with material is going to be $1,000 plus machine time. Plus, you know, all the hoses and fittings and all that shit too. It's going to be just crazy expensive. So that's going to suck. I am making the shaft a standard size though, so that many manufacturers' pulleys will fit. Moroso's 5/8 pulleys will fit. They got a 3/16 keyway. Peterson, Jones, a lot of those guys run a 5/8 shaft. So I've got it down to 5/8 at the end for the pulley. So that'll provide people some universal compatibility, you know, per se. So, but it's looking really good. I should bring up a picture of it. I got a picture of it. Let's see if I got a picture of it. I mean, it's on my phone, which is what's in my hand, so I can't show you that. I just reformatted my laptop the other day. Last week, so not everything is loaded to it because it was killing link ECUs. Sorry about the vibrations. It wasn't killing them per se. It wouldn't ever finish a firmware update. It would crash every time, and then it would leave the ECU in boot mode and leave it unusable. So I had to get a rig on my my desk at home. Sorry, I'm signing the Discord where I have the picture. So that I could power the ECU up and recover it. And I was able to recover it. So that was good for the last one I did, but that was like the 3rd one in the last year that I've had to mess with, and I don't like that. Apparently I don't remember my freaking password for Discord. Yeah, so that's all on that. But it's looking really good. And once I change the shaft when I get home, well, they're not going to do the shaft in the next couple days anyways. I'm going to send them just the body. So they'll do the body for the stage. It's a 3-stage pump. I try to get 4 stages in where the factory AC goes, but with the factory intake manifold, 4 stages would not fit. With a process West manifold, 4 stages could potentially fit, but 3 stages fit only. But the really cool thing that we're doing that nobody has done before, I don't think, as far as I know, nobody has done before, is I'm using the factory oil pump as a stage, as a scavenging stage. I mean, why not, right? It's there. People delete it. Why delete it? It's a perfectly good scavenge stage. And since this first car we're doing it on has a low mount turbo, I'm running it to scavenge the low mount turbo and to help out with the oil sump on the engine. So it'll be a scavenge stage that goes up to the tank, and then the engine will be fed from my pump. So really cool idea. As far as I know, nobody has ever done that before on a Subaru. I just was laying there in bed one day and I was like, wow, I'm a fucking genius. No, that's not what I said. But I did say, wow, this is actually a really good idea. And I texted the guys, like, guys, I got this fucking awesome idea. We're gonna try this. And yeah, it's fucking sweet. I'm excited for that. OEM pumps are reliable too. Yeah, I mean, the Subaru oil pump is very reliable. The only issue with the Subaru oil pump is the relief. And that gets fixed when you change the whole thing out. Is it this password? Nope. How about this password? Nope. How about this password? Nope. Alright, I don't know the account. Never been done before. Yep, it hasn't, Adam. Thank you. As far as I know. As far as I know, it hasn't. I've never seen it before. And obviously, I would never claim that I've seen everything. Oh, I can do that. Can I do that now? My stream is going to pause for a second. Just going to pause for a second. I apologize. I'm trying to... Wow. This is not working. Alright, sorry about that. Oops, here we go. Sorry about that. I had to log into Discord on my laptop, but I can't remember the freaking password. So... if you use the app and you have it on your phone already, then, oh my god, then you can just scan a QR code and it logs you in. So that's what I did, since I was 18 passwords in and I wasn't getting it right. Here you go. Here, I'm going to show you a picture now. Bloop. So that's my pump. I finished the pulley last night. I have to change the shaft just behind. I got to add a little bump to it, and I got to raise the size of the shaft to accommodate a better seal. So you can see right here. Here's the front of it. So I need to raise the shaft a little bigger here, so that the pulley has something to stop on, and then I'll have to increase the size of the shaft a little bit to put a slightly larger seal on it. And then you see I got plenty of room for the OD of the seal. And I have plenty of room depth-wise for the seal as well, so it'll be easy to add 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters to it and have a slightly larger seal on there, no problem. That won't be a big deal at all. You can see it's 3 stages, inlet, outlet. Inlet's bigger than the outlet. Clockwise rotation. The oil flows like this through it, right through this side of it. It doesn't actually go around or anything because it uses a cycloidal pump. It uses OEM pump gears. In it. So I have 3 stages of OEM pump gears in it, bearings on each end, seals in between. These are steel, this is aluminum, and there's centering spots in the middle of it that index it all and keep it in line. And I just got to finish the mount on the back side and change that shaft a smidge and it's done. Super sweet. Super sweet. All right. So yeah, back to what I was saying before. Cleetus with 2 E's. You need new tuners, bro. You need new tuners. All right, I guess this is the tach for 60. So the dyno knows how fast we're going. 3450 is pretty much where it always is, unless you change your tire diameter on these cars. I always check just in case, but this car is almost always 3450. Sucker in AFR for the left side of the graph. Leave torque on the right side of the graph. I'm gonna do a small partial throttle pull just to see how everything is behaving. Okay, traction control is angry at me. Turn that off. Go back, start again. Watch that log. All right. The first time it's gone that fast on the dyno, you hear the rocks coming off. Tink, tink, tink. That's one reason why I always tell customers you cannot be in here when I am tuning, because the rocks like to fly up tires. They come off some power. Up with a lot of power. All right, so my boost hit 20 there, it says on the peak on the gauge. I'm not sure when that was. I had pretty low throttle input until the end, and I mashed it, so maybe it was while I transitioned to throttle. And I kind of watched so many things at once. Let's see, 18, 19, 11, 12, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20 for a second there, right there. All right, that's a low wastegate duty to get that kind of boost, but it is 20 degrees in the dyno cell. And that's one reason why you may notice that these in stock form, they have a lot of wastegate duty pull based on intake air temp. They are very sensitive to intake air temp. 1.5 degrees, no feedback knock. It's only, I mean, we're at 4,900 RPM, so I hope at 1 degree there's no knock or anything, right? Air, fuel, a little bit of correction there. I got some correction in the closed loop. So closed loop correction has definitely pulled some fuel out of it. 10%, so I can tweak the MAF scale a bit, or the VE correction on it. Let's see. So yeah, 30% is giving me 20 pounds. That's crazy. That's like very little duty cycle to give me that much boost. No timing pulls or anything. That looks all smooth all the way to red line. Timing is not crazy aggressive. Through the mid-range, it gets pretty aggressive up top to try and keep the torque up. You know how bad the torque is on these things. Just drops like a rock over 6 grand, which it did here too. Zoom in. Come on, phone. There we go. So the torque's pretty flat there through the mid-range, and then starts to fall off, fade away right at 5,000. Almost a straight line there. Air fuel leans out a tiny bit right there. I'm betting if I was to log my boost starts falling pretty hard there after that 20-pound spike, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, I did log boost. I meant chart it. If we look at the horsepower, or the mass airflow, I should say, which is basically horsepower, right at 48, we're at 232, and that 232 stays all the way until about 6,000, then where it's about 240, and then 240 to red line. So that kind of goes along with the torque curve that we're seeing. Oh, that's probably way too zoomed in. It goes along with the torque curve we're seeing, right? If you think about it, for horsepower to be flat, torque is falling. So if you look at the mass airflow, and the mass airflow is flat, and it's tuned to optimally use all the air that's going into it, then your horsepower is going to be flat. So let's bring horsepower on the graph and see what that looks like. Let's see if the power matches the airflow. Sure does. Oh, you probably want to see it, right? So you can see the horsepower, almost a flat line at that point. So the horsepower we're seeing matches our airflow tendency. Airflow is pretty flat. We saw a little bump up at 6. We're not quite seeing that one there, but we're seeing within 10 horsepower, which is what it is. It was within 10 horsepower from 48 to red line, and it was pretty much within 10 horsepower the whole way. So that tells us that for the airflow we had, it was actually tuned quite well because we were getting all the power out of the air that we were putting in it. The question is can we make either the air go up from 5,000 and up, or somehow make more power with the air we got? Well, that rarely happens without massive tweaks to timing. And with these cars, getting timing in them is not an easy task. I'll change the scale on this. It's at 400. I want to see a little better what we're looking at. So we'll go to 300 on the scale. Better the torque. So the torque gets almost 300 foot-pounds. Straight line, then the torque dives off, the horsepower is flat. Not the prettiest curves, that's for sure, right? It's not the prettiest. But for the very first map, I'll take it. Smoother than a lot of other guys' final maps. Oh boy. Come on. There it goes. All right. All right, so I know, what do I know? Well, I know that for the airflow that I put into it, I had good power. I know airflow was flat, so how do I increase airflow? Well, I open the throttle more, but it's already open all the way. So at some point, I will run out of the ability to add boost and increase airflow. At some point, you can keep adding boost and airflow stops. We're not there. So I'm going to attempt to add boost on the top end a little bit. It touches 20 at 5 or 40, whatever it was, 4900, and then drops down to about 12 and change at redline. I can get it to hold a little more than that, so I'm going to try and get to hold a little more boost than that up top. See if I can get the top end to have a little roundness to it, like a little round booty on it, right? No, just kidding. Get a little more round on the top end, and see what we can do. Wastegate duty cycle is really low. Now, the bummer with tuning an FA in the cold like this is that they are so sensitive to temperature that I'm operating in a spot on the map where the ECU is already compensating for the temperature in the wastegate duty cycle. It's already pulling like 20% out, or what am I? If I intake air temp here. Well, manifold temperature was 70. Intake air temp is, where'd it go? Logging manifold temp. So let me add that real quick. Thought I clicked them both, but apparently I did not. I could have very well clicked one and unclicked it to click the next one. Alright, let's see. So intake air temp going into the engine is 37 right now. So the wastegate duty cycle compensation is going to be based on that air temp. 37 degrees. At 37 degrees, I think it's pulling like 11% or something. Let's find out. I think that's how it's at. Boost control table, wastegate duty, intake air temp. What did I say it was? 37, 8%. About 8%. That's what it's pulling out. Right around 8. Maybe closer to 6.5. Something like that. So if I start adding wastegate duty cycle here to try and raise my boost in these cold temperatures, and this is adding wastegate duty cycle as well, and it warms up, and I have it pulling too much here, I'll be over boosting here. Or vice versa, if I'm not pulling enough here, I'll be under boosting here, and this is, you know, most of the seasons, and this is our current season. So this kind of sucks when you have a different exhaust on the car, a boost control solenoid, a different intake on the car, and it's, you know, a combination you haven't done a bunch of. There's going to be some guesses in here. You're not going to know what to do because I don't have the ability to make it 100 degrees in the dyno cell. So this is one of those things you got to keep in mind as either a customer or a tuner, that the possibility is there that this may end up getting tuned great for these two cells, but then as intake air temp goes up outside, the customer might experience under or over boosting. Now, what the heck can I do about that? Well, there's a couple things you can do. One, you can give your wastegate duty cycles high maps more authority. You can allow the duty cycle to climb higher so that when you get into those situations, the EC was able to be more aggressive on its targeting. The issue with the FA is that because the FA turbodynamics is so whack, it's difficult to get the turbodynamics set correctly and have your highs and lows work effectively without this map being correct. It is definitely difficult to do. Something about the way this car looks for boost is a little weird, to the point where you can look at a log, and we'll look and see if this one did it, and see an error from the target and say it's trying to lower boost. You'll see it add duty cycle for a while before it starts to reduce duty cycle again. It's really, really odd. Is that less an issue with air to water? No. So the temperature post-turbo has nothing to do with the boost control, really. It's the temperature pre-turbo, because those blades are coming around, right? The blades are coming around and they're scooping air, and what you're really getting is a different response based on the density of the air that the turbo is scooping. So these corrections are based on the intake air temp before the turbo. If it's after the turbo, then it's totally screwed. It wouldn't work correctly. You know, it'd just be wrong. Best I can say. You'd have to make it very small changes and then just hope that everything else is correct. Because the post-turbo air density is not what's really affecting your boost control system that much. A portion of it is how much intercooling you get. That's a small portion of it. It's really about the density of the air as that blade is coming around and scooping that air and pushing it into the engine. That's really where you get most of this effect from. It wasn't a dumb question. A lot of people don't know it. It's not a dumb question at all. It's a good question. It's an opportunity for me to help people think about that turbochargers are scooping air with each rotation. The every time that blade comes by, it's scooping air. And also, if the air is more dense, you get less leakage, right? If everything is tighter, then you have less leakage past all the tips and everything too. So it's really, it's a good question. It provokes thought, my friend. So I'm going to add some down in the colder areas, a little bit more there, a little bit of holes there. I'm going to check this duty cycle, maxes. Okay, so it was in the 20s on the top end. So this one, for this base map, I have it pulling down a lot of duty cycle up top, just because it's a base map. I didn't know where it was going to go, but we're going to add a bunch now to it up here. Oh, that was too much. There was some delay on my computer there. I'm just going to blend this into this spot here. 5 is where the boost spiked, so I'm going to knock a little bit off that 5 area. I'm going to taper this in a smidge. It's kind of a weird looking curve, but man, these FAs, sometimes they have the weirdest looking curves for the boost control. So that's where we're going to go. Trying to keep it from spiking too much down low, and then let it try and get peak boost. I ideally would like to see the spike on boost happen around the 5,000 RPM, just not as much of a bloop bloop, you know, like fade into it and fade out. You know, we want peak horsepower around 55. I don't want to have it all down low. And then also I want the car to feel good, right? Feeling good is an important part of the experience. Like, you can have a car that's fast, but doesn't really feel great. You know, it doesn't feel great. What about my IET relocation? Yeah, so with the IET relocation, if you go to the turbodynamics compensation tabs here, and you have it based on intake air temp, I reduced this dramatically. Because like I said, most of it is the density of the air being scooped. Some of it is that post intercooler, right? And since we're now going post intercooler, what I'm doing is I am taking it and I'm changing the way this profile works, these compensations here, and the wastegate based on intake air temp. So in some cases with the post intake air temp IAT, if it's really cold here, I'm pulling even more here, because if it's this cold post turbo, then you know it's colder pre-turbo, right? So in the lower areas, I pull even more duty cycle with low temp, and then I don't add as much with high temp. I don't add any with high temp usually, because the high temp's an expected result of boost. And if it's really high temp, I'll pull some out in the really high temps, because I don't want my anti-air temp charge post integral to be 230. If it's that hot, then I'm pulling duty cycle out. So with the relocates, I'm usually like -10 here, faded into about 120. 120 is an expected temperature. I leave that around 0. I'll have 0 from like 86 to 120, and then I start pulling duty cycle out down there. Because now, like I said, you got to think about where this is being sensed from. If I have 32 post turbo or post intercooler, it is cold as shit outside. So I definitely want it to have some action down there. Where am I at? Over here, wastegate cycle. And then if I want it to more actively try and hit boost in this situation, this car has it pre-turbo. So pre-turbo, I know that the air is less dense. So up here, I can add duty cycle as I see fit, because it's going to need the duty cycle to grab that less dense air and put it into the engine. I don't like to do a lot up here. I don't like to do nearly as much as they come from the factory in a lot of those cases, because, again, if it's this hot, do I really want it to try really hard to make boost? Because that's the best way to blow it up. There's still a lot of boost on a hot engine with hot intake air temp. So in a lot of cases, in this case here, you see I've removed it completely. Any extra effort off of them, right away. It'll apply some effort on its own with turbodynamics, but I don't want it to try extra hard to hit these boost targets with a really high intake air temp. That's not something that I like to do. I try and keep engines together. And people, I think, if it came to a $5,000 engine repair bill or 10-wheel horse in certain situations, I think they choose losing the 10-wheel horse over paying for the $5,000 car engine repair bill. So I try and keep that in mind, and what's the car's usage? I often tune cars based on the owners too. If I know the owner well and I know how he or she drives, I will tune it based on that. There are some people that don't get as saucy of a tune as others, because I know that I know there are some of my customers or friends who are. Sorry, I heard a noise. Who are very, very aggressive drivers, or inattentive owners. Inattentive owners are the worst, because they just get in it, they don't warm it up, they beat the shit out of it, and they don't listen for things. They don't try and, they're just the worst. So if I have someone I know is an inattentive owner, then I try and provide a little extra safety margin in there. Alright, so I altered the duty cycle curve for the highs, but I didn't alter the low. The low is actually still pretty high, because I took the duty cycle down off of the map originally, so it's actually pretty good there. I'm going to check the ABCS real quick, see how I have it set on top end, if it's normal. Looks normal. Okay, yeah, that's all pretty. Oh, actually. That'll work. That'll work. Might need to tweak that a smidge. We'll see how it behaves. And then the target I have dropping really fast as we approach red line. Probably too fast, so I'm going a little more to the target at red line. You gotta be careful with these cars though. They're really sensitive to back pressure, so if you add too much boost at Redline, they really knock like crazy. And I had a pound and a half. Might be too much. Oh yeah, I want to change my map scale a smidge too. Holy shit, what's going on here? My trackpad is being dumb. That's not right. It's not working. Look at that. There we go. That won't take effect until I'm flashing. So let's do a pull with it set the way it is now. Let's see how the boost control is doing. And let's reset the peak. Alright, so that needle was pretty active on the boost. It definitely went up and down quite a bit there, didn't it? You guys see that? The way it went up, went down, went up, went down a little bit, and some big swings. I'm not sure totally why it had such big swings. So we'll look at wastegate duty and see what's going on here. Wastegate duty's 27, 25, 24, 25, 26, 25, 26. Not huge swings in duty. Surprised the swings and boost were that high for such a small change in duty. Pulls more airflow though. Peak airflow now is 255, 256 in that range. Right on 6,500. So that should have yielded more horsepower up top. However, it didn't. I haven't showed you guys the dyno yet, but it didn't. And I don't know why at this moment. We're gonna look at this a little more, see what we got. Oh, timing's pretty low. 65, I got 9 degrees, it's not too bad. Huh. Let's see. Put this down. The temp probe on the dyno's broken. And it keeps bouncing around. And unfortunately, it uses the temp probe for weather correction, and I can't turn it off. So that's a shame. So I think the reason it made less power is because the temp change. Let's bring that up and see what happens. I think that's what it is. It looks like a sudden change in power, which means it's gonna be a sudden change in air temp, I believe. Yeah, it read 30 degrees less. We're at 40 degrees less. So it pulled power out of it because of that. So really then it actually made more power, which you would have expected. And switch the temp probe wasn't broken. well, let's see. Looks like it's reading the right thing right now for a second. Let's see if it keeps reading. Try doing the poll, see if the temp stays correct. Looks good right now. Best video production quality of any YouTube streamer ever. I mean, I don't know how you can argue with the phone falling down all the time and laying face down, and it's just the best. Nothing makes you feel like you're here like the phone falling down. Okay, so that time the air temp stayed within 5 degrees of the first run and not 30 degrees or 40 degrees off of like it was in the second run. So let's see if I can show you guys. I don't know, it's the temp probes got pinched, and the two leads internally I think are touching and it's fucking it up. So you can see here the very bottom line there, the blue one, that's the second run, and you can see it said 30 degrees, and then the one before that and the one after that were around 70 degrees. That's a 40-degree swing. That's gonna cause the dyno to raise the power output by about 5%. I thought I ordered a new probe, but I haven't seen it yet. Unless it's here and just no one opened the box or told me it was here. So it's in that bottle. That's that. It's the little squirty things that you squirt into your water, Mio or some shit. One of the guys here really digs that stuff. Someone's asked me if that's urine. If your urine's that color, you need to drink more fucking water. Holy shit, I can imagine that being my urine color. Yeah. So, anyways. That's a torque curve. Get rid of that. Bring up the run by itself. Close that. Close that. Still a little choppy there. We got some hard edges here. I don't know how much that is dyno or what. I'm not seeing those in the tune, but I'm going to do some graphs to see if I see anything. But not the prettiest. Pretty flat. Usually the FAs fall off hard to redline, horsepower wise, but I got this sucker going pretty smooth all the way to redline. I mean, that's an accomplishment with an FA. Only we're about 20 lower than what this thing should be. So maybe this will be 20 and that'll stay. And then look like all the rest of the FA graphs. I'm gonna keep working. I need one of them high reading dynos with smoothing, so I can post up a horsepower graph that's so over smoothed the line only goes to 420, but the numbers down below say 450. I love it when tuners do that, especially new tuners post up horsepower curves that don't match the numbers below them. They're like, yeah man, you need to either turn that smoothing down or something, because that meant that horsepower was like a and then a spike, and then it came back down again, but the graph looked like shit, so they hit smooth until it was this weird amorphous blob shaped graph. But then the number didn't change any. The number still said 470 or 450, but the line shows 424 or whatever the hell it is on the graph. You're like, where'd that 50 horsepower go, dude? Maxwell guilty. I don't know what that means. I think that'd be pretty fun. Let's see. see, I need to add, I think I need to add another, but it was 450 though, right? Yeah. Mustangs are the biggest offenders of that. Mustangs have a very aggressive smoothing that you can set up, and it'll make the graph look shitty. Dyno Jets have a pretty aggressive one too that can be somewhat offending, but the other systems like the DynoCom, which also had, like a lot of guys with DynoComs over smooth. When I had our DynoCom, I didn't over smooth at all. Like the goal was always to be as accurate as possible without it being a heartbeat. Yeah, Moonstang for sure. So the thing about the other ones, like the DynoCom and the Dyno Jet, when you apply this smoothing, it reduces the horsepower number to match the graph. So you're smoothing not the graph, but the data. Where in Mustang, they smooth the graph and the data stays. So you get this erroneous spike that has some high number that doesn't match what the graph shows. Where with the other ones, when they smooth it, they lop off the tops, and then your new horsepower number shows up with a new smooth value. Lower, you know, averaged to match. So so the Mustangs or Moonstangs are, you know, the big offenders for that, because they'll leave the readout on the bottom the same, and then yeah, and then the number, or then the graph is all small. Yeah, Lio Jet, that's funny too. Yeah, Dyno Jet's definitely full of shit, that's for sure. Moonstang, I love the Moonstangs. What cams in the Kelford range are the most similar to yours? I can't find the specs on your website. That's a weird statement, because I have a cam card with the specs right on my website. So look at the picture. It's got the cam specs right on there. I got a cam card for the cams as an image for them. So it's right there. What are they close to? They have more duration and a faster ramp rate than the C's, but they have less lift than the C's. So it's duration-wise, it's in between a C and a D. Lift-wise, it's more than a B, less than a C. So I don't really know what you want, what kind of answer you want out of that. The exhaust side is either a C or a D, based on which version of the cam you get. So the newest version has what's essentially a D exhaust cam, and the previous version is basically a C exhaust cam. So I think that should answer the question adequately, I think. Go back to the tune here. All right, any questions I missed? Well, I'm looking at my logs. Come on, chat. All right. Now, you may have noticed there's a lot more shit on my website than there used to be. Not a lot of pictures, though. So the manly stuff I added there was more of an experiment into the importation of items into the website. And unfortunately, none of the pictures transferred over. And I added like 5,000 items and with no photos, which totally sucks. And that created a really messy area on the website with the format that I used on my website. So what I did is I created an area that says GetaDomTune brand. And so that's going to be all of my stuff. So my cams, my tools, my intake air temp sensor setup, my beanies, my pulleys, you know, all that stuff should be in that area. And I may have missed a couple, I don't know for sure. Dry sump pulley, my rocker spacers, connecting rods. What else is in here? Pulley mod, regular pulley. Yeah, so it looks like most of the stuff is in here. I might need to find some more of it, get the rest of it. Yeah, I only see the 1-year subscription for like a Discord. I don't see the 1 month in there. So there's a few more things I still got to pull over into the GDT brand on the website, but the search function does work. But clicking on GDT or the GetaDomTune brand tab is the best way to get to my stuff in particular. And so I just went to the cams. There's my cams. Quick view. Here's a picture of the cam card right there. So there's the lift. And the duration. And all of that. It's right here on there already. Got a message here. What do you guys say? I need help finding the right sockets to break loose input and output shaft. So 5MT. I mean, sure, you can message me, but I don't remember what size they are by heart. They're just sockets, just big suckers. Just measure the bolt head. If you haven't taken it apart already, then obviously you can't do that. But yeah, just get some calipers on there and just measure how big the bolt is, and then buy that socket. I know one's like 50 or 60 something, but that's, you know, that's all I got for you in that regard. I don't remember the exact sizes. It's been a long time since I took a 5MT apart. I only have one card left with a 5MT, I think, supervised. The rest of them are all 6MTs. Do you have the technical service manual, or the field service manual, FSM? If you have that, that'll be handy as well, because it tells you like what special tools to use and all of that. And sometimes it tells you the size of the wrench that special tool is. Or if you look at the part number for that special tool, when you look it up, like if it's a Kentmore tool, it might say what value, you know, that socket is, and then you'll see it. So that's always an option too, if you in the FSM. In fact, here, let me show you. I think I have some on this laptop here. So if we go blah 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 blah, where is it? What folder is it in? I think it's in tuning. And we go down to service manuals. Here we go. 5MT, we'll say 05 WRX, sure. Transmission, 5MT. Try that. Okay. Specs. These washers are for adjusting lash on various parts. This one's for the drive pinion. These are the different shifters and rods. So the different shift forks have the hole drilled in them where they mount on the shaft, and they're indexed different sizes. So they have different different locations for them. You see they have the 7, no mark, and 9. So it's stamped on the fork itself with 1, nothing, or a 3, and that tells you how far off that is when you approach the gear, so you can measure the distance from the fork to the selector. That's all in this section of it. Same thing for all of them. That's how they adjust it, is with different forks or with different washers based on what function you're doing. And then transfer case, extension assembly. The extension assembly is basically the transfer case area. It's just the output shaft. Front diff. Those are torque specs. So you can get the manuals online, dude. Like you don't even need to get like crazy old school bootleg ones. I mean, you can just look up manual and there's a guy that's got them in a GitHub somewhere or some shit, and you just download it. I mean, I have a ton of them. If you look back at my service manual section, I mean, those are all Subaru service manuals. Those are zip files of them on the bottom, but these are all Subaru service manuals. And I have more on my home computer. This is just what I put on this laptop. Newish 15, newish 11, then before 11. Wire harness changed in 11, so I put the 11 in here. I put the 15 because the body style changed, some stuff changed here, so I have that in here too, right? The big changes happened 15 and 11 and 8, right? 8 is when big change happened too. So I have the 8, 11, and 15. Those are the biggest changes in that stuff. And then JDM stuff and USDM stuff, older shit from, I mean, a 93 WRX, we have that in US, so I got some JDM stuff. And they're not in Japanese necessarily. Some parts are. Let's see if this one is. This might be the UK version of it. Yeah, this is UK English one. I have one somewhere that is actually in Japanese. So the cool thing about the Subaru manuals is they have this section here. All right, this is 93, 96 WRX manual. And so here is the special tools section. Engine tools, special tools, engine tools, rear differential tools, special tools, right? So they have all this stuff. And some of them, when you look at the numbers, they give you more specs than you might see here on that. There's all the tools for work on the tranny. Pinion height adjustment, oil side seal, side bearing cone for turbo model. See, there you go. Special tools, wheels and axles, pullers. So the manuals are cool because they have all these special tools in them. And you can just buy the damn things if you wanted to. You just grab the part number, the Subaru number off here, and grab the number and look it up. In some cases, they're gone. They're long gone. They don't have them anymore or whatever. And then you get someone like me and say, hey, dude, would you make me a tool? And then I can make you a tool. I don't know if you see my cam tool. My cam tool's pretty pimp. Everyone that uses it loves it. I just had a guy tell me yesterday, dude, I use it again. I love it. I use it all the time. It's great. When are you going to make one for the crankshaft? And I'm like, I haven't done that yet. So here's one. Let's see. Here's one. It's this guy right here. Let's look this one up. Can I get that number? No. It's a PDF. I should really copy text. Anyways. Oh, yeah, you got my tool, don't you, Jason? Oh, Jason. What's up, dude? Your hubs are at my coders right now. They're getting hard chromed. So they're doing a hard chrome on them to make them strengths. Oh, look at that. I told you before you even wrote it out. They're at my coder analyzer dudes. It's the holiday, of course, so you know, no one's working hard. So I told them what they're being used for. I said, I'm fine with zinc or whatever, and the dude that works here goes, Greg's going to do it in hard chrome, so we're probably going to do it in hard chrome. I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. They'll be strong and beautiful. So here's, oh, here we go. Description of the tools, even closer for the transmission stuff. Look at that. Right here. Used for moving and installing driven gear assembly locking nut. Doesn't say the size though. Oh, yeah, it does. 50. That's a 50 mil. Here's a 35. Used for removing and installing driven pinion lock nut and main shaft lock nut. There you go. So 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters. Look at that. I found that on accident. Yeah, that's what they got there. So 50 and 35. And then there's one much smaller one. 27 here. And then there's another, yeah, 27 I think is the small one. Yeah, and 27, because there's three nuts, right? There's a big one, a small one, and a medium one. 35 again, 35 again. Yeah, it's 27, 35, and 50 are what you need for the 5MT. There you go. Bloop. All right. About a 32. Oh, and we were close too. Hey, but the 32 is good for axle nuts, so you got a 32 for your axle nuts now. I'm gonna take the spike out of this. I'll make this a straight 35 in this one zone. Take the spike out of it and see how that affects the power curve. Oh, that was weird. What did that do? Excuse me, I got the hiccups bad today. I should make this whole square 35. Like that, and fade this up. Alright, let's try this again. That one didn't feel good. It doesn't look good either. Oh, wife's texting me. What time is it? It's 4. Oh. That one didn't feel, I didn't like the way that felt. Huh, no timing pole. That's weird. The power dropped. I felt it physically drop in the car, but there's no timing being pulled. It's perfectly good. There. So it must be a boost thing. It was pretty weird that last pull, so the boost is probably weird this pull too. Let's go, let's see. Yeah, the airflow is really low right there. Oh, really low right there. Okay. Yeah, the FA's, it doesn't feel good on pump at all. It's not, I'm not a fan either. I don't want to say it's a shit motor, because I don't feel like it's a shit motor, but I don't feel like it's a good one either. I mean, like I've said it before in stream like 100 times, that for what they wanted the engine to do, what their goals were with the engine, they nailed it. They did an excellent job. They did a really, really, really good job, and I absolutely think that the Subaru engineers, they made, at the time of the FA20, one of the better engines they've ever made for the goals that they were going for. This is a shitty boost curve, isn't it? A wastegate duty cycle table. This is just so I can get some data. With wastegate duty cycle control, you really got to get data as like where it wants to be happy, and then you can move and adjust and that kind of stuff. So I got this big flat section here because I want to see how the boost is responding, and I also want to see how my turbodynamics are responding. If I have my max set at 45 and it's flat across, and I go and do a pull and the duty cycle is still going wee 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 wee, then my turbodynamics are off. But I don't want to have this being set too low, like the last pull it was set too low. This being set too low that I don't actually get to see the turbodynamics and work. If I can't see the turbodynamics and work, I have no idea how well it works. So I gotta get this up out of the way, but not to where the boost spikes up crazy high in the low RPM. So that's why I got this taper on it. You see this taper going down? I don't want the spike, but I want to see once the boost comes in, and then see how my dynamics works in this range to find, acquire, and hold my boost target. So that's why it's got that weird look right now. Then once I find out that my dynamics are good and everything is stable, then I can manipulate this as needed to provide some protections and also enough authority for that whole temperature thing we were talking about earlier. And then also bring it into the lower requested torque values. Like right now, request torque goes like this way and then drops like this during a pull, because that's the way that these things are set up. So at slightly less throttle, I technically want slightly less wastegate duty cycle. We see right here I got the same. But that's just for right now. Once I figure out what the path is going to be, I'm going to know that my turbo dynamics is correct. Then I can start fading things in and blending them down so that I get good partial throttle, boost and all that. So I know right now that that last pull I did, I had less boost through most of the pull. It still had a little spiky somewhere, but the rest of the pull was around 14 PSI instead of being in the 16 pound range. So I know that if my target's gonna be 14 PSI, well down here where I have a 14 PSI target, bloop, I'll put that duty cycle in and then and have the new one up here. So it's just part of the process, but that's why it looks ugly right now. Not great. But that's not the final presentation. That is for fact finding. And a lot of tuning cars is exactly that. It's fact finding. It's figuring out how things are responding and or how to get them to respond the way you want them to respond. So you got to figure out if your dynamics are off, if my initial's too high, my boost target's funky or wonky or whatever, just all kinds of stuff. And so part of that is big blocks for certain zones, figure out that zone, and then do each of the steps in between for lower values, and then fade it all in and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at. All right, that was really weird. The car started to wiggle on the dyno. That was it swam like this. As I got up, all of a sudden it started to wiggle and the power dropped. Look at that, look what happened over there. I don't know what the heck is going on with that. I'm starting to wonder, maybe there's a loose wheel on here. It started to swim on the dyno during that dip. So yeah, that's bizarre. I'm gonna get a check. Jason, I'm not a fan of Ford tuning. Yeah, man, I'm with you. Fords are not fun to tune. They're weird. They're cumbersome. Holy shit, they're cumbersome to tune. They're not entertaining. It's not a fun experience. The final results can be fun. Seeing a nice. Yeah, no time pulls. Look at that. Timing's great. But weirdness on the dyno. And the airflow is weird. I don't know what's going on. This is kind of bizarre. Basically, duty cycle has dropped to 27. I guess that's all it needs to hit the target I set for it. So my dynamics my wastegate duty cycle limit is out of the way. Right? There's nothing in the way anymore. And oh fuck. I didn't reinstall Office. And I know I didn't install my log viewer. I don't think I have. I don't think I have Mega Log Viewer downloaded. Ow. Tune in truck now, tune in truck later. This is my downloads folder, so those are tunes that somebody sent to me that was done in their truck. But that is fucking hilarious names. I forgot about that. Hey Jason, have a go, man. Bunch of BMW stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I have Mega Log Viewer downloaded anymore. Mega. Oh, there. What? What do you mean? What? Mega Log Viewer setup. exe cr download? Alright, open file location. Right there. Yes, change it. Try it now. Yeah, I figured. See you, James. Hope that helps, man. Shiza. I don't know if anyone's ever used Cobb's log viewer. Well, it's just those lines of code. I wish they had something, you know, like a better graphing option. Just open these numbers. That's all there is. There's no option to log them, to stick them in a log or anything. I know I don't remember my code for Megalog Viewer. That was a long time ago. What's the log software called? Let's me post the names of those things. Remember the ones I had. Megalog Viewer was Tuner Studio, but they have another one that's similar to that. What the hell was it called? I know I used to have it, but now my brain is totally... It's not the one. It's not the Megalog Viewer. What the hell was that log viewer called I had? Well, shit. I don't have time to install Windows again, so I just wanted to find those old loggers I used to use. I can't remember the name of it anymore. Yeah, it's a FAWRX. I'm trying to get my logger set up. I reformatted my computer the other day, and I thought it was called Megalog Viewer that I was using before, but I opened this up. This is definitely not the login program I use, and I cannot remember what I used to use. Recently, I've just been using Office. It was really easy. I just log a CSV, not a big deal. Throw some graphs up and good to go. Before that, I had a log viewer that I used a lot of until I started just using Office for doing shit. And but again, I redid the computer, forgot to put Office back on it, and also don't have the viewer. And I cannot remember the freaking name of the damn viewer. Megalog Viewer comes to mind, but when I installed it, it is definitely not the same one. And it's an okay one. A lot of people use it, but it's not my favorite one. The one that I was using before, I really, really liked the way it kept track of the runs with time, signatures, and everything else. So this is definitely not it. So I'm just trying to remember what the heck it was that it was called. And my brain is just not remember the name. I thought it was called the same thing, but that's definitely a different program. Shoot. Okay. Please download. You selected the file, then you could 2D graph, 3D graph. I think it might be Epiphan's viewer. Where'd he go? Come back. Right here. I need to modify this guy. Well, that's fucking annoying. All right. Well, that's enough of that. There we go. I think I found it in my downloads. Install this shit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the one that I was using was Epiphan software one. He does the ECU edit, the BRZ edit, and all that. I'm pretty sure it was his log viewer. I really liked it. I liked how it was easy to select any of the logged parameters as an x-axis. Scaling was easy. You can do 2D graphs, 3D graphs, kind of histogram stuff. I really like that software. But right now, if I go to his software and try and download it, Google says no. We've blocked this website from downloading because we think it's malware, and it's not giving me an option to download it anyways. There's no option to download it. It says we blocked them. That's it. Yeah, I hit it. It says it cannot be downloaded securely. It doesn't give me an option to do anything else. So. But I found turns out I had the Office download in my folder, my download folder. Just tried to install it. I don't feel like it worked. Find out. Yay! All right, cool. Let's plot some ABCS. I'm gonna plot ignition timing. block, boost, wastegate duty cycle. Chart those first. Please. Thank you. All right, there we go. There we go. Thank you for being patient. For those of you that are still here, just fighting with shits. Okay, so here's some lines. All right, so wastegate duty cycle. Up, then drops down and wiggles a bit around 5%. See, boost is the same. Comes up, wiggles a bit. So the dynamics. That's one thing I hate about Subarus. Let me just back up on that. Most boost control systems, use a PID strategy. Subaru only uses PI. The problem with PI is that it doesn't offer you any correction based on the ramp rate of the object that you're trying to control. So here we see the ramp rate is pretty steep, and it's still adding duty cycle. Well, clearly, if it's raising really fast, it's got enough duty cycle on it. It's not until it approaches the target that anything really starts to happen, and really, you see, it's not until it gets really close it starts to pull away. Now, what pulled it away? The proportional. The proportional pulled it away. Okay, so the proportional whoop, dropped down some duty cycle. You see right here, it started to drop down duty cycle based on proportional. Now it's over the target, so it's over the target. The proportional now is still off, so now it's pulling it out again. And the integral now is winding down because it had been winding up to this here in the first place. Now, if it had a D control, it would have seen this ramp coming in, and it would have snubbed off the top of this mountain here. It would have been like, whoop, let's just lop this off, and then this would have come up closer to the target and done less of the, oh, I'm over, oh, I'm below, oh, now I'm coming up on it, oh, but I'm not coming up quite enough. The P was enough to quench it here, but it was not enough for the integral to come back up. Then it comes some more, right? So unfortunately there's no D factor, which is derivative, proportional, integral, and derivative of control. The derivative is basically the instantaneous slope of a line. So any fine point in time, you know what direction it's going. People also know it as rise over run. You can call that the derivative as well if you want. Only with the derivative, the rise or the run is a very short period of time, and so is the rise. It's really weird. It's a bunch of calculus shit. It's an interesting way of looking at things, but it's what we're seeing here. So there's no D term, no derivative term, so it keeps climbing until we get into the range of the proportional. Oh well, we're you know, approaching within. Well, I'll show you. Let's see. I'll show you what we're talking about. So if we go to turbodynamics. There it is. I didn't see it through my phone. Turbodynamics, proportional. So, oops, wrong one. Proportional. There we go. So the proportional greater than this side. So if we're outside of 3 psi from target, there's no effect to the system outside. Well, I shouldn't say no effect. The effect is 4. It's locked in at 4. So when we first start, if our boost target is well above our current boost, then we're going to be over here on the right side somewhere. We're going to be like 4% added with an error of, say, 7 psi. And that 4 just stays there. It doesn't add in. It just stays at 4%, and that's just what it is. Because this is only based on the instantaneous difference. It's the instantaneous error that we get right here, or error is what we have. So it just adds 4. And then as we get closer and closer and closer and closer, it's still added, it just has 4 added. And then once you get within 3, all of a sudden you start to pull some of that out. Oh, okay, well, we go forward. Okay, now we're only adding 1.5. Oh, now we're only adding 0.5. All right, so what you see is when the boost came within this 3 range and started to climb up this way, there's an instantaneous drop in wastegate duty cycle that you can see on the graph. So here it is. we're coming within our 3 right here, or within 3, and then all of a sudden there's this drop in wastegate duty cycle. Now we cleared the target too, so we're also getting an integral that's counting down as well. But it isn't reactive enough, basically, is what I'm getting at. It actually makes me wonder if I could fuck with this and make this like a, like, so this is like a 10, right? Something gigantic like that. And then make this be 15, right? And then have this one be 5 and this one be 5. And then have it come in and this be 1, and then have the 2% or 1%, something small, because you don't want small fluctuations in the boost around the target to create a big change in the wastegate duty cycle as it's trying to hold it steady and stable. So something like that, so that as you come inside the 10 pounds, it starts to pull some proportional out of it. That might actually help, honestly. That could have an effect, especially if I stack this up against the upper high limit. Then the integral can't wind up because we're at the high limit. And we can also limit the integral wind up too, can't we? Right here. Through that. So we can limit the integral wind up 10. It's not a bad idea if I made that 8, for example. Oops, that's 98. If I made that 8, then that limits the wind up. And then also, but the wind up on this is in relation to the low map. And the low map I still have set high from previous stuff. It's actually above my high map, which doesn't do us any freaking good if we're trying to get the dynamics correct. So I screwed that up. Let's bring that down. I don't say I screwed it up. A lot of tunes actually come with the low really high and then the high low, which really seems weird to me, but a lot of people do it that way. And I think it's to get the integral wind up limitation out of the way. 65% of that. There we go. That's right about where we're at. So if we do this, and that keeps our wind up from going 8% more than this table, which is not going to be enough probably, but yes, we'll do that anyways. Just try that. And that really weird turbodynamic proportional. Let's see what that does for us. See if that helps fix these damn things. So they sure don't like finite boost correctly. And right here, here's our integral. And integral positive is a very small value. So it doesn't try very hard to wind up and add duty cycle to it. I mean, in relation, if I compare this to say like an STI, these are very low numbers. I don't know if this will show up. Other stock STI. I don't know if it'll show us that, if it equates that correctly. But see, here's an integral for an STI, 5 at 4 psi, right? Huge integral terms. These things build wastegate duty cycle pretty quick, whereas here, 0.3 at 5, right? That's a big difference. So the integral terms aren't very aggressive on the FA. But what I think is faster on the FA, I think the time, the timing of it is faster on the FA. So the update rate is what I'm looking for. So if the STI does this, say 10 times a second, I think the FA does it 50 times a second, basically is what I'm getting at. And so if you have a slow update rate, you need big steps to catch it in time. If it's a very fast update rate, like I believe the WRX has, I don't know what the WRX has update rate wise. I believe it's faster just by what I've seen, tune it and stuff, but I feel like this guy is lower because of that. But I can multiply by freaking 3, and even then I'm still not even at a full percent, right? STI is at 5% up here. I'm still not even a full percent. The other thing that's interesting is how small they have it through here. This in the less than 1 pound range, they have it very small, and very small, so that it doesn't get too active and start giving us the wiggles. But like if I made this close to like an STI, for example, make that a 3, make that a 2. What was this? A 1-ish? No, that's 2 there. But yeah, that's fine. We'll do that. This is way more active than an SDI. But if I did something like that, then this boost control system is going to be all over the place. Typically it is with a FA. But let's do it anyways for shits and grins. So I just see that's the positive. So I mean, this is going to really try and hit some boost. And multiply this by 6 times more aggressive, just for fun. Alright, let's flash this shit. Let's fresh it. So what did I do? Well, I created a false D term by making the P term have a huge range. So I created a false D, and I increased the integral. So it's going to wind up a lot faster and wind down a lot faster. That's another thing that's going to happen too. And then with the more aggressive P term, who knows? I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But I'm excited to find out. Wouldn't it be fucking amazing if it was just like, just completely flat boost control? We're like, oh, well, there we go. But the reason I don't think that's going to happen is because if you look at the logs, the wastegate duty cycle is already relatively active. It moves around quite a bit, and I believe it's because it has more updates per second than the older EJ ECUs do. So I think what will happen is I'm going to have a wastegate duty cycle, and the guy goes across. Heard the click. There's a relay in there. You can hear the main relay shut down on these things. You may not know this or notice this, but the throttle control remains active for a period of time after you've turned off the key. And you can listen and hear that relay click off after you've turned the key off. It's like 10-ish seconds or so. You can hear it power down the ECU the rest of the way and the drive-by-wire control system the rest of the way. Even though the engine's not running, the ECU still has power for a period of time after you turn the key off. Not a lot of people realize that. BMWs are really bad for that, actually. Theirs stays on for freaking ever. And if you set a reset command to the ECU to reset adaptations, and you don't wait until the push button light goes out or whatever, the chances of that command being properly executed are extremely, extremely small, especially on like the E92 chassis, those kind of things. You gotta wait for the push to start button light to go out for that full adaptation reset command to even be executed. So it's something that I didn't know for the longest time. I was sitting there at my access port, hitting reset adaptations, turn it off, turn it back on again, and they're still there. And I'm like, what's going on? But I could not figure out why the adaptations would not go away. And it was because if you do that, then when you turn it back on again, that command to reset gets erased and it never gets executed. So you actually have to set the command, turn the system off, wait for it to actually put on the ECU, like I said, which happens when you see the push to start light go away. Once that happens, then you can restart it again and your command will be executed in the ECU. It's a total pain in the dick. Because sometimes the ECU stays awake. Like if you got a door open, or if you have the comfort access and the key's on you and it's inside the car, that thing stays awake for a long time. If you close the door, take the key away, and wait till the light goes out, then it'll happen a lot quicker. But the comfort access system keeps it all active, and it's really a pain in the butt. everything looks like it's working in closed loop. Reset my boost. I'm gonna get on there easy because I don't know how crazy it's gonna go here. Speed duty cycles at 27 right now. That was actually quite good. The boost control was actually really, really good. I'm very happy with that. Actually, the peak only went to 17.4, which is what the target is. The target's not 20 something, even though it was hitting 20 something. Yeah, that's way better than I thought. And because the boost is lower and actually at the target, I'm not getting the big spike. You see the big spike there before. So the power on this one, the power was smoother because it's the green line. And the boost didn't spike up really high, giving us that really high torque number. So if I clear this, hit the G button, that brings up all the old data. Bring up the run again, hit load, clear that out. So is that, there we go, look at that. Look how much smoother that is than the previous run. The power's low. It's only at 230 right now, but that's fine. The boost, however, was way better. That's funny. So let's graph that. Let's graph that and see if it did in fact. Do you think your long rods would be good for a fit for an EG33 build? Yes, I do. In fact, I have custom pistons already made for an EG33 with +2 rods made, sitting in a box in my house, that I had done a long time ago with the intent on doing an EG33 that's in my SVX that I have. So yeah, I do think that it would be good. Well, actually I had a little more airflow there, 260 at one point. That's surprising. The boost is a little higher on the top end there. Look at that. Power was so low though. Why is power so, oh, time is a little smidge low. Dam's good. That's all good. Oh, I bet my temp, yeah, temp probe's at 5 degrees on the dyno again. God damn it. Okay, well that's good news then. That's really good news. Let's graph it though. I mean, that's just the Cobb thing. Here's the old graph. Brown's wastegate duty cycle. And then green is the boost. So let's open up this log we just did. Why can't I open this thing? I hate you. Don't save. No, thank you. Open? I don't want to open more than one. It's really annoying. So I wish I had the other logger set up, because the other logger works really good for that. Alright, I need to put my hand down for a second so I can I can hold control to select parameters. Give me a second. Alright, control. Boop. Come on. All right, we still have some wiggle, but not nearly as much wiggle. And in fact, if you look here, the wastegate is flatter for a while, climbs a little bit, and then decays to catch the spike. Still went too far. You see here, it goes up, then goes down, but it stabilizes really quickly. And if you look here, it aggressively tries to hit the target as boost is falling, would naturally be falling, and it does a pretty good job maintaining that. So the stuff that I did made a difference through most of the range, including here really, because the spike isn't nearly as bad. It's still slightly overreactive here, slight overreaction there, and honestly I'm okay with that, because I'm going to raise the boost target a little bit anyways. It's already a little low. It's only like 16 pounds right here. I'm going to actually want to push 19 on it, so I'm going to raise the boost target, and I'm going to see how that affects this action up here. It may come out quite well. calls, you answer. So the wife called. And she texted me like an hour ago, and I didn't respond because I was streaming. So I figure if she called me, I need to answer that time. So I ignored her once already. Alright. So I'm reshaping my boost curve right now. See if we can get this thing to do some torquage. Alright, let's see how that works. So peak boost only hit 17.4, and my target before was 16.7. So really, it came in really close. Oh, that reminds me, I hit the boost error on my log. Let me set that. I want TD boost error. So it did a really good job, actually, of catching the boost by adding like a false D term. It wasn't really a false D, it's basically a more aggressive P, but a wider range of P. But what happens is if the boost comes in really fast, it's going to drop it off really quick as it comes across proportional instead of waiting for it to get closer. So it acted kind of like a false D term, and it seemed to have worked pretty good. Man, that worked really good. That's cool that I get to show you guys like how it works, and then create something based on the knowledge of how it works, and then prove that it works to you guys right there. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy that worked out quite well. Yeah, the boost error is just minuscule through most of the pole now. That's awesome. Check this out. So with the comp software, you have boost error. Is this typical flex fuel front mount intercooler EBCS? No, not any of that at all. It's just exhaust and an intake and an EBCS. None of that. Yeah, I had to answer the phone. That's why I was gone for a while. Okay, so if I show you here, turbodynamics, less than a pound. I'll just scroll up through it. See, the first column is 0 through the whole darn thing, whole darn way here. Except for ready to get 1. I got to 1 pound. 1 pound differential, so it was a little high, right at 3,100 RPM. That's expected. It's expected around there for it to be off. So here, it starts off 6 off, which we'd expect. Then it climbs up duty cycle some. It gets really close. It goes over target by about a pound, pound and a half. And then settles on target really well through the rest of the pole, all the way through. That is really cool. So I'm going to graph that now. See how much clearer that graph looks. Close, don't save. Open the next one. Choose this one here. Yes, please. All right, so I'm just going to go right to the wastegate duty cycle and boost. I'm not going to put the other stuff on there yet. Wastegate duty cycle, relative pressure, I got to control. Graph, line, double line, finish.
Hey, quick question for you. This guy's had his heads machined quite a few times where he's running a stock block, but he's worried about the distance that's been taken off the heads. JE Pro Seal 100mm would be fine even though he's a 995, right?
You mean for the bore?
Yeah.
Yeah, why, so you run 51s on or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, factory head gaskets are like 105 millibore.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
He was looking for 995 head gaskets, and I was like, I don't think anyone makes anything
No
smaller
such
than
thing.
100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no such thing.
Just wanted to check.
Yep. All right, let's zoom in on that a little bit. See a little wiggle there around the target. Come on. Boy, this is acting really slow. Well, that's a lot less wiggle than it was, though. That is a lot closer. It's weird how it's delayed right here a little bit. Actually, it comes up and then it's a little more aggressive right there. My dad just keeps texting. Everybody keeps texting me today. Apparently that's a popular day. But through here, that is way better than it was. On the dyno graph, whoops, there's a warning on the screen. Let me get rid of that. Screen. It's a lot smoother too. And more numbers. Reset it. Go to that last pull. There you go. This thing doesn't want to make power though. Like I'm trying to get to raise power, but it's just not going up. I don't know what the deal is with it. I feel like the timing is plenty aggressive to make power. I mean, it's holding the red line flatter than anything, and that's really impressive for an FA. Granted, this thing doesn't have a whole lot of modifications to it, so it's not gonna make a lot of power, but it ain't great. That's not great power. Best I can do is make it run as well as I can, and you know, it'll make what it makes in the end. Just wish it made a little more. Of course, that temp probe is fucked up again. Now it's reading, I can't even tell, it's blue. 4? Oh, now it's moving. It's moving again. Temp's going back up. Oh, this probe is broken. Small tweak to the boost curve there. Add a degree of timing up top. I can bump the power up some. Look at the air fuels one last time. I'm pretty sure air fuels are good though. I think the change I made was good. Yeah, it's within 4%. Can't bitch about that. Air fuel look good. Leave that there. And then let's do the pull. it's done right there. Wow. That's good. I like that. I'll show you that. That's really good. Get this camera turned around. See that green line? Look at that curve, huh? That's the way it's supposed to look right there. Slight tweak the boost curve, degree of timing, clean up the fuel smidge. Look at that. That is beautiful. All the way to red line too. Let me get rid of the crap on there that's polluting the screen. And bring that pole up again. Just that pole. Does that even look like an FA? Apparently I did an EJ swap while you guys weren't looking. That's a great way to conclude this video, I think. What do you think, guys, huh? For those 3 of you that stuck around, I think that is a great way to conclude that video. With that graph looking beautiful and everything behaving exactly like we wanted it to, and the results being right where they should be, carrying power to a freaking red line on an FA like that, that is, that's beautiful. I'm gonna shed a tear. Just kidding. Right? Isn't that crazy? Made my own PI strategy, adjusted a bunch of stuff, and made it smooth as glass. I've had guys send me their cars from New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and Virginia. It's the same axis on both sides. So the torque is the left line. 300 is the very, very top of the screen. So it's like 290, probably looks like 290 torque and 277 horse. Yeah, 277.7 horse, and then the torque would be that one over there, really close to the 300. Excuse me. Depends on the car. Yeah, some guys trailer them out, some guys tow them out, some guys pay for transport, some guys drive them. Depends on what state they're in, you know. I built some pretty good base maps. There's a guy on my channel who was tuned by another guy, and he had these huge fuel trims, and it just wasn't quite right. And I spent like an hour and a half building a base map for him, and this is speed density, 1300s, bigger cans, etc., on a car I've never seen in person. And I sent him a map that his fuel trims were within a couple percent through the entire warm-up routine all the way to full warm, and it drove around pretty nice. We had a couple small tweaks to tip enrichment, and that was it. The thing drove great. No more crazy fuel trims or nothing. So I'm pretty certain for his car, if I could do it, I could do it for a lot of them. Yeah, this is an EBCS, a group speed controller on it. And then obviously, as you saw in the video, I had to do a lot of programming to the PI strategy to get it to behave properly. But yeah, I mean, if you had any other make in that term instead of Jeep, I would say it's not a shame, but it's a Jeep, so it's a shame. I'm just kidding. It's a Jeep thing, and I don't understand. I've just never been a big Jeep guy. But do and live by your passions is what I feel, personally. So if you love Jeep shit, then do Jeep shit. Just don't ever use the term scat pack to me, because I'm going to tell you that scat pack literally means shit box. Since scat is the technical term for animal shit, It's scat. So you got a scat pack. You have a shit in a container. Fucking dodging their stupid ass names. You guys, I got a scat pack. I'm like, oh, so you got a shit box. I knew that when you said Dodge, but I appreciate you being more specific about it. 97 Wrangler, custom long arms, D60 rear, D44 front, air lockers. Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy how hard it is to get a good front on the Jeeps? Like, why don't they make reverse rotation D60s? Like, you're stuck with like a 44 or something in front. You can't go bigger in the front. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Right now I'm flashing the map on here, make all the changes permanent. Yeah, at least it's a 97, you know, when things were cooler in that world. What engine's in it? Has it got the 4-liter in it or something? Or are we talking like a Chevy 350 or some shit? In the front, the high pinion gears aren't cut anymore. Is that what it is? I thought it was. Oh, it's the weird rotation pinions. But Dad keeps sending me shit. I don't know what he's. It looks like they're all pictures in the previews. I don't know. Use the opposition for 15 seconds. Yeah, I'm fucking stoked about that. That came out better than I could have hoped, and yeah, it worked out. Worked out. My only hope is now that when it gets hot outside, that the boost is still good. All right, I'm gonna have to go. My wife's calling me again, and I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you guys very much for hanging out, and I hope that some of you learned something. At least you weren't too totally bored and all that. So have a good day, and I hope your New Year's is really good. I have high hopes.